All right, let's just dive right in. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're looking at a completely fascinating story. It's about a guy who, honestly, started with absolutely nothing. No money, zero prospects, and really just no hope. But in exactly 90 days, he totally flipped his life and his career upside down, all by using one shockingly simple habit.
So let me ask you a quick question. What if you could somehow add 3 entire extra months to your year? Just imagine the insane advantage that would give you over, well, literally everybody else. Throughout this explainer, we're going to break down the actual math behind the secret and show you exactly how one man unlocked those extra months to completely rewrite his future.
Meet Thomas. He was a 32-year-old night security guard, and he kept asking himself this really haunting question. Is this going to be my life forever? Thomas felt completely trapped. He was living in this tiny, broken-down one-room apartment. The fan was busted, he's sleeping on a mattress on the floor, right under a single flickering light bulb. And every morning while trudging home from an exhausting night shift, he'd look through the windows of his town. He'd see families eating breakfast, people heading off to their office jobs, basically living their lives, while he was just barely surviving.
Now, Thomas wasn't lazy. Not at all. He was walking 4 miles a night, staying sharp, doing his job. But his routine, it was totally backwards. I mean, he worked all night and slept from 7 a.m. straight through to 4 p.m. So while he was literally unconscious, the rest of the world was just moving forward without him. It hit him that hard work alone wasn't going to change a thing, because he was working incredibly hard in a routine that was taking him absolutely nowhere.
Then came the breaking point. It was a freezing Tuesday morning in November. Thomas gets a call. His mother had collapsed from stress and exhaustion at her rural village clinic. Sitting there beside her hospital bed, realizing he couldn't even afford her basic medicine, something inside him just snapped. And it wasn't sadness, It was pure anger at his own helplessness. He walks outside into that crisp pre-dawn air. It was exactly 5 a.m. He looked out at the quiet village and just whispered, "No more." And incredibly, that very morning, on the 6 a.m. commuter bus back to town, fate stepped in. He spots this highly successful local businessman, Mr. Chun, just sitting there peacefully reading a book at dawn.
So Thomas gathers up his courage and actually asks the guy why he's up so early. Mr. Chun looks up and drops this piece of wisdom. He says, "The hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., those are magic hours." He explained to Thomas that it was no wonder he felt stuck. He was awake when the world was sleeping and asleep when the world was working. Mr. Chun told him he needed to drastically shift his schedule. The advice? Go to sleep the absolute second you get off work, just to survive the night shift, so that you can leverage those morning magic hours to build an actual life while everyone else is still snoozing.
Okay, the math behind this is just mind-blowing. Mr. Chun actually met up with Thomas at a cafe to break the numbers down. Think about it. 2 hours every single morning. That's 14 hours a week, which becomes 730 hours a year. If you divide that by a standard 8-hour workday, it literally translates to 91 full workdays. By just claiming that time between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., you are handing yourself 3 extra months in a year. 3 months! While everyone else is just throwing that time away.
So here is the exact 2-hour foundation building system that Mr. Chun taught him. Think of your life like a house, right? Thomas's house was crumbling because he had never spent any time actually working on the foundation. So hour 1, from 5 to 6 a.m. is strictly for building skills. You use this hour to learn something that will actually change your financial situation. No TV, absolutely no doom scrolling. Just learning to trade or taking free online courses. Then, hour 2, from 6 to 7 a.m., is all about building your body and your mind. You exercise, stretch, read, and plan out your day. Because your body is your vehicle, and if that breaks down, well, you've got nothing.
But for any system to actually work, you need strict parameters. Mr. Chun laid out 3 non-negotiable rules. Rule number 1, wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. Yes, even on weekends. No excuses whatsoever. Rule number 2, asleep by 9 p.m. Listen, you really cannot cheat sleep and expect to pull this off. Getting to bed at 9 p.m. gives you a solid 7.5 hours, so you're fully recharged. And rule number 3, you have to push through the pain of that first week. Your body and your brain are going to fight you on this, hard, but you just have to push through it. Psychologically, this whole journey happens in distinct phases. That first week, oh, it was pure hell for Thomas. He was literally dragging himself out of bed, aching from exhaustion, sitting there in the dark, squinting at free Excel tutorials on his phone while his eyes burned.
But, just like Mr. Chun promised, a breakthrough happened. Around day 20, his body just adapted. He actually woke up naturally at 4:58 a.m., 2 minutes before his alarm even went off. By day 21, it just felt completely normal. And by day 90, this wasn't a habit anymore. It was a fundamental part of who he was. Looking closer at his 90-day sprint, month 1 was all about extreme discipline. He forced himself to study basic accounting formulas, simply because he knew every single business needed someone who understood them. It was definitely exhausting and pretty lonely, too. But his daily 30-minute sunrise walks started giving him this really profound sense of purpose. While the rest of his town was completely knocked out, he was building. And slowly but surely, those incredibly dry Excel tutorials actually started making sense. Moving into month 2, the momentum was just undeniable. Thomas had officially knocked out 3 online certificates in accounting and Excel. Plus, those daily walks were paying off. He was losing weight, his mind felt sharper, and his confidence was really starting to soar. Even the other guys working the night shift at the warehouse started noticing this huge physical and mental shift in him. And when they asked him what the heck he was doing, his response was just brilliant. He'd smile and say, "I am changing my life 2 hours at a time." Then we hit month 3. This is the absolute climax of his 90-day challenge. Thomas took everything he'd been teaching himself in those quiet early morning hours, and he built a comprehensive Excel spreadsheet to organize his company's totally chaotic warehouse inventory. The owners were absolutely floored. I mean, on day 87 of his challenge, they called him into the office, and they didn't just move him to a day shift. They made him an office accountant and literally doubled his salary right there on the spot. In just 3 months, he went from a hopeless night guard to a daytime professional. Fast forward a year later, and Thomas had actually become the company's lead accountant. He'd saved up enough money to move his mom into town, get her proper medical care, and set her up in a nice apartment. But here is the absolute coolest part of this story. He kept waking up at 5 a.m. When his coworkers asked him why he was still doing it now that he had made it, he just gave them a simple answer. Success is not a destination, it's a daily practice. Waking up at 5 a.m. wasn't just a strategy to escape poverty anymore. It was his entire identity.
All right, so what does this mean for you? I am challenging you to take these exact steps tonight. Step 1, set your alarm for exactly 5 a.m. and put your phone all the way across the room so you physically have to stand up to turn the thing off. Step 2, pick just one skill to build and commit to it for 90 days. And step 3, viciously protect that 9 p.m. bedtime. You've got to cut out the late night Netflix binges and the endless scrolling. You need to capture these early, totally distraction-free morning hours when the world is quiet, nobody's texting you, and your willpower is at its absolute peak.
We are wrapping up our explainer for today, but I want to leave you with something that I really hope sticks with you. It's time to stop hitting snooze on your life. Think about it. If Thomas, a guy who started with absolutely nothing, no degree, no network, zero money, if he could pull this off, just imagine what you can achieve with the resources, the internet, and the education you're sitting on right now. Your future self is quite literally waiting for you on the other side of that alarm clock. So, what will you build tomorrow? Hold yourself accountable, make the choice tonight, and let your daily practice begin.